Blend it up with ice and make it
So good evening, Erev Tov, Shabbat Shalom. It's so nice to have so many people here with us today, realizing that this is a very special occasion. I joke that every Shabbat is a special occasion, but that doesn't usually bring out the boards and masks. But when family members are celebrating, it's really wonderful to be together. So first we want to say Shabbat Shalom to the Bernstein family and to say how excited we are that Caden's bar mitzvah is finally here and that this day has arrived, and we're thrilled to start your whole weekend of celebration. And really tomorrow, Caden will shine as he leads the entire service and reads Torah and teaches us and all that. And tonight we are thrilled to have our adult B'nai Mitzvah ceremony. Normally we would have done this in the spring, but as a class we voted and said, let's push it off because by October there won't be any more COVID and we'll be fine. So in spite of the fact that that is not exactly what happened, we decided to go ahead with this. We really appreciate everyone keeping their masks on throughout the service, just to keep all of us safe. And thank you for that. And we will keep them on and off on the Bima, depending on if we're speaking or not. You will need a prayer book for this service. The ones with the flames on the front, there's a thick version and a thin version. It doesn't matter which one you use. But if you are using the thinner one that says Shabbat on the binding, will be on the pages in the brackets. So we're starting on page 120 in just a minute or two. Otherwise, if there's only one set of page numbers, just turn to page 120. It's not, that part's not confusing. And we're excited that you'll be here, that you'll be participating. And it's really a special night. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And Cantor Appelbaum is going to start us off with some special words and songs. Am I breathing? Are you listening to my prayers? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I breathing? La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. It is my pleasure to invite Caden and his mom, Christine, to honor us by lighting the Shabbat candles on page 120. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer. As
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'halik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with his vote, commanding us to tend the light of Shabbat.
Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
Let's turn to page 124 as we pray responsively. May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are longing for friendship.
May it welcome all who have prayers to unburden, thanks to express, and hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
Continue on page 125. Where has the week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task unaccomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what we must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Please pray with me. Help me to endure for a while the flight of time. Contain to retreat the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter the quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide.
We pray responsively on the top of page 127. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We continue on page 138 as we welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. When we arrive at the final verse, we invite you to rise and welcome the Sabbath bride by turning to face the back door.
Shabbat, Shavu v'zakur v'diborecha, Yishmianu el ha'achad Adonai echad v'shamoecha, v'shemot yivara v'aliyah echadoti, v'kratana, v'neshavat, v'chavela, v'chadoti, v'kratana, v'neshavat, v'chavela. Torri, Kiva Horri, Umi Uri, Shagabari, Gavadana, Ita, Hakati, and Patana, and the Shaba, Nikamela, the Hakati, the Pratala, and the Shaba, Nikamela. Read the seven verses. Oh, Yibishalo Mater Mama, Dam Simchal Zolan, Du Chemoneam Segra, Oh, Ikala, Oh, Ikala. Turn back together. Lepagodi, Lepagala, Shabbat. We remain standing as we turn to page 146 for the Baruch. Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach le'aved. We turn to page 149.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which the time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and might. Your guide sets the current of day into night. Your heaven spans to infinity. You set the course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ariv Ha'arami. We turn to page 150 for Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Ahavat Torah u'mitzvot, Ukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadeta. Akein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shoveinu v'komeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, U'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayeinu, le'orech yameinu, u'behem neged yomam v'layla. Ve'havata kol tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem
on page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me? Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into mystery. Baruch atah Adonai Elohei Amo Yisrael.
We turn to page 154. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך לבבך ובכל נפשך וכל לבדיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אלוהים נתן היום על לבביך אשר אתה לפניך ודיברת בם ושיברת מעתך ופלטך בדרך ושבתך ובקומך ושרתם לאות יורדיך לביו לטובתות בין עיניך ושרתם על מזוזות ידיך ופניך למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותיי ותהייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתכם את ארץ מצרים ואתם אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
We continue with an English version of the Via Hata that many of you may know from some of our family services called Love Adonai. Love Adonai your God, love Adonai your God, love Adonai your God, love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, Love, Adonai God. Love, Adonai your God. That was by special request. And we invite everyone to keep their masks on, please.
We continue responsibly on page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai. There is one God in heaven and earth, the high
Heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered at Sinai. We bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages, your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and have peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel is, singing on the shores of the sea.
Continue on page 160 with Hashki
Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom.
Aviteinu Shomreinu Bechai. Save us for the sake of your reign. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Ashkimeinu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom. Hamidenu Shomreinu Bechayim. Bechayim. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkot shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We turn to page 165. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We turn to page 166 and we rise for the Amidah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Bebeteinu, Bimoteinu, Elohein Abraham, Elohein Yitzchak, Elohein Yaakov, Elohein Sarah, Elohein Rivka, Elohein Rachel, Elohein Leah, El Hagidor, Hagibor, Ha'ara, El Elyon, Goel Hazedim Tovim, Vekonei hakol, v'zaker hazedeh avot b'mahot, umami gula levdei hemenem, leman shemo b'hava, melech ozir u'mashiach u'magi, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, v'zara Sarah.
Atah gibor leolam Adonai, mechayei hakol, atah rab l'choshia, mechalkel hayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noblim verovei holim, umatir asurim, Umakayim emunato v'shenei achar michamocha ba'al geburot umido melech melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hakol.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise to you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God. Baruch atah Adonai, Adonai Hakadosh.
Please be seated as we read responsibly on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. Who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Makadesh Hashamat. Please turn to page 175 for the Ritzak.
We continue on page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shivcha ulcha na'ed lehodot. We turn to page 178 for Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav, Yisrael, Hasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael, Hasim Le'olam. Ki ata hu melech hador, lekol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech hador, lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amka, Tasim
טוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. Shalom Rav Israel Nasim Leonam. Shalom Rav Israel Nasim Leonam. Nasim Leonam. Nasim Leolam.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise are you, eternal one, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech Israel. As we enter our silent prayer, I invite you to listen to these words on page 21. We reach for you, our God, from our quiet places. May we stand still for a brief moment and listen to the rain. Stand still for a brief moment and watch the play of sunlight and shadows on leaves. For a brief moment, listen to the world. Let us stop the wheels of every day to be aware of Shabbat. Find the stillness of the sanctuary which the soul cherished. Renew the covenant of an ancient people. We need a quiet space to rest the balance of our days, the weight of our own deeds against the heaviness of the world's demands. The balance is precarious. Steady us with faith. Quiet places and stillness, where we will hear our own best impulses speak. Quiet places and stillness, from which we will reach out to each other. We will find strength in silence, and with this strength, we will turn again to your service.
Oh, say shalom, Rabbi. Oh, yeah, say shalom, Aleinu. Be'avo Yisrael. Be'eru, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu be'avo Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu be'avo Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu be'avo Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu be'avo Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu be'avo Yisrael. Thank you, Vincent and Cantor, and to our B'nai Mitzvah. You guys are doing the most amazing job. and have led us in prayer so beautifully. We are now excited to begin our Torah service, and we ask the congregation to rise as the Torah is taken from
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai Agidu, Nagibura, Batibet, Yanei Sabeahot, Kipor Bashamayim U'Baaretz, Kipor Bashamayim U'Baaretz, Lecha Adonai Amadecha, David Naaseh.
Please be seated. So this evening we will be reading Vayera, the Torah portion for this evening. And each of our B'nai Mitzvah will read a section from tonight's Torah portion. But after they read their Hebrew and say the bracha and have their aliyah to the Torah as well as reading the Torah, they're going to share with you what they learned from looking at the Torah portion that would have been their Torah portion the Shabbat closest to their 13th birthday, closest and after. That was sort of the Torah portion that was meant for them, for their bar bat mitzvah. It's always interesting because if they were 13 and doing this, the chances are they wouldn't have learned the same lesson that they learn now, having lived their lives and reflecting back and hearing what speaks to them at this moment. So it's always a wonderful experience for us and for a treat to learn from each of them this evening. You may follow along in the Cloud Torah commentary if there's one, I don't know, there's some in the sanctuary for the Hertz Chumash. In the Cloud, it's page 124, and in the Hertz, page 64, and we'll be starting with Genesis 18, verse 9, and then skipping to Genesis 21, starting in the beginning. So our first Baal Kriyah, our first Torah reader is Jan Feynman. Ya ta'amod, Yana bat Shmuel Masha, levarech et ha'Torah levat mitzvah.
Baruch et Adonai
Baruch
et Adonai Hamorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacher banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai noten ha'Torah. Amen. Vayomru elav ayeh Sarah ishtecha vayomru hine ba'ohel vayomer shov ashu elecha ka'et ha'chayei vehine ben Sarah ishtecha v'Sarah shomat petach ha'ohel v'hu acharav v'Avraham l'Sarah zikanim bayim bayamim Chadal Levihile, no. Lehiloyot Lesara Ora Kanashim Batitzra Sarah Bikarba Lemor Ahare Viloti Vila Ticha Hayatili Edna Badoni Zare Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notah b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. English.
I'm just gonna cover the Torah.
I cannot speak about parshas, religion, bat mitzvahs, or temples without thinking about my father. He was not a religious man, and that was a big influence on many of my religious opinions. My mother was into cooking traditionally and saying yispa for most of my life. That was it for me as well. Then along came my sons, Robert and Jeffrey. I joined temple and made bar mitzvahs for them both. As a result, I was indirectly drenched in Judaism. I love languages. I speak French pretty well and used to be well spoken in American Sign Language. After rejoining TBT in 2018, I wanted to learn Hebrew. However, reading Hebrew from the Torah without vowels was never my plan. Having a bat mitzvah was not my intent either. Since January 2020 and through a COVID crisis, I have been studying through Zoom with a great group of people, and being here tonight was the natural combination of studying Hebrew. On my 13th birthday in 1965, my parsha would have been Balak in the book of Numbers. The Israelites have conquered the Amorites and the Bashanites, neighbors of Moab. Balak, the king of Moab, worries that his nation would be the Israelites' next victim. So he summons the prophet Balaam to curse the people of Israel. I read that Balaam told Balak to use the women in his city to distract the Israelites from fighting in Moab. Why didn't Balak use his own men to protect his city? Why did he need a prophet? I hope as I read further in the Torah, my questions will be answered. So, as Balaam travels to Moab, he is berated by a talking donkey who sees before Balaam does that the angel that God sends down to block their way. God speaks to Balaam through the donkey. I have learned that this is the only talking animal in the Torah, and it can be argued that this is one of the very few comedic parshas. It figures that my parsha would contain comedy. Is this a coincidence? I love to laugh and I love a good comedy. It was part of my household as a child and still is. It seems Balak thought he could retain the sorcerer Balaam to do his evil bidding against the Israelites. Stopping Balaam and subsequently Balak's request was a lesson to both of them. God warned them that the Israelites were blessed. Balaam's efforts were halted by God through a talking donkey. God was in control, not them. God had the power, not them. This is the part where my father's voice is in my head. How can God talk through a donkey? How do you even know God is real? Can you really prove he is in control? I have the same questions as well, and one additional question of my own. How can a good Jewish person have these doubts and questions? I have always had faith in a higher power. My higher power's name since she passed away in 2000 has always been Mom. I always prayed to my mother and I still do. But maybe there is a God who is in charge, a God who can speak to you through a donkey, an Adonai who seals our fate during Yom Kippur. This is such a perfect parsha for me, no coincidence, and perhaps a lesson learned. I wish my father could have planned my bat mitzvah and heard this parsha midrash when I was 13. It could have possibly changed the religious dynamic in our house and could very well have reminded my father then, and definitely reminds me today, that our questioning, our reluctance to believe just might be very, very wrong. I would like to thank Rabbi Susie and Cantor Sarene for helping me and my old brain learn Hebrew, my Torah portion, and how to chant it. I also need to thank my dear sister Susan for coming a long distance with a bad back to be here with me tonight. Thank you to my wonderful children, Robert, Linda, Jeffrey, and Melissa, for trekking here from Massachusetts and New Jersey. And of course, for bringing my sweet, noisy grandson, Samuel Chase. Thanks to my dear friends, newfound B'nai Mitzvah friends, Dave, Ira, Marcy, Natasha, Rachel, and Rob. I couldn't have asked for better Zoom mates and would not have survived the last year and a half without you. We made it to the other end of the pandemic a little smarter. Last but not least, my historical diehard friends that have been part of my life for 14 to 59 years. You know who you are. Thanks for the support. To my family and friends, I love you all.
And next, I would like to call for the blessings of the Torah and the reading of the Torah. Natasha, Ta'amod, Sarah bat Abraham, the Sarah, living at Torah. Can you?
Baruch Adonai Hamburg.
Baruch Adonai Hamoram Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamburg. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'karanu mikol ha'amim ve'anatan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Natzin HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Adonai el Avraham lama ze tachaka Sarah lemor ta'af umnam eled ba'ani zakarti hayipalei me Adonai devar lamoid ashuv elecha kayet haye ule Sarah ben vatet ha'esh Sarah lemor lo Tachakti ki yoreya, vayomer lo ki tachakt. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan לנו Torah emet v'chanei olam natu bot tekenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
The Torah portion I have chosen to speak is tonight's Parsha Varia. It begins when God tells Abraham that Sarah will have a son the following year. Sarah, being aware of her age and her permanently barren status, when she overhears God telling Abraham that she will have a son, she laughs. The thought of a 90-year-old woman having a child was hysterical. God asked Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? God also adds a stern reminder that there is nothing that can ever be hidden from God. At this point, Sarah realizes that she's been exposed about her lack and trust, belief in God. Instead of coming clean right then and there, she tries to get out of her predicament by saying that she didn't laugh. This time, God calls her out directly and says, you did laugh. I can relate to Sarah. Well, not the part about being 90 and having a baby, but I remember my first night in Hebrew class, I was intimidated by the Hebrew letters. In my mind, I laughed and said, what did I get myself into? Then Rabbi Susie called my name and said, okay, Natasha, read the next line. In my mind, I said, but it's in Hebrew, I can't do this. I thought about quitting, but that's not what I'm about. There are two things that people should know about me. I don't give up and I don't take no for an answer. So that night I prayed about it and I asked God for my answer or my miracle. And soon my miracle was my dear friend, Jaya Kowarski. She held my hand and she was very patient as I mispronounced the Hebrew. But she didn't expect nothing but the best from me. I couldn't have done any of this without her. I remember many years ago when I chose my Hebrew name, when I converted, it is Sarah Nechama. I have a special connection to Sarah because for a quick second, I, like her, questioned myself, but I ultimately had faith. My journey to Judaism was a long one. I was born into the Christian faith, and it's something that I'm very proud of. My grandmother, Anna Bastien, was the best Christian that I've ever known, and she gave me the greatest gifts. The love of God, the strength, the ability to make decisions about how I feel and how I should live my life. She lived her life the best way she could, and like her, my spinning compass has led me here to my home. Rabbi Susie has been a wonderful mentor and made my conversion possible. She performed a great miracle by turning this shiksa into a Jew. Cantor Sarene was with her angelic voice, has been so supportive in helping me with the Via Hafta. And my good friend Darylyn, who also helped me with my speech. And also I'd love to thank my support that came here tonight. Thank you very much. And my family who's also watching me on Zoom. Hi, Daddy. And I would love to thank everyone for my support. Shabbat Shalom.
And now it is our pleasure to call David German. Ya'amod, Herschel Ben Chaim Yidol V'Gitzel Livarech Et HaTorah. And we're switching to Genesis 21, verses 1 and following.
Baku et Adonai Hamvara. Baruch Adonai Hamvara Leilam Bared. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Baku Banu Mikol Ami V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. V'Adonai Hakat et Sarah Ka'asher Amor Vayas Adonai La Sarah Ka'asher Diber V'Tahar V'Teled Sarah L'Avraham Ben Liskuna L'Mavad Asher Diber Oto Elohim. Vayikra Abraham et Shem Beno Hanolam Lo Asher Yadalo Sarah Yitzchak. Vayamal Abraham et Yitzchak Beno Ben Shemanan Yamin Kasher Tzivat Oto Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torato emet v'chei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. I would like to thank everyone for being here or joining us on Zoom today. I'd first like to thank Rabbi Moskowitz for having this class and keeping it going for the past 2 years, even though during COVID. Of course, we learned Hebrew and studied Jewish history and culture, but Rabbi always made the class interesting and comfortable place to learn and share. She gave us insight into what we were studying and challenged us to think about how it applied to our lives and the world around us. Thank you, Rabbi. Also, I'd like to thank Cantor Appelbaum for helping us prepare for this day. Special thanks to my wife and my 3 kids for all your support you've given me time to devote to my studies. The Pasha for my Torah portion, which I would have done when I was 13, is entitled Bo, meaning go. It takes us from Exodus chapters 10 through 13. Pharaoh has ignored God's repeated warnings with the plagues now poured onto Egypt. The country is in despair. Pharaoh's heart has hardened and he will not listen to Moses. Now, with the terrible plague of locusts has destroyed Egypt, Pharaoh's servants are pleading with Pharaoh to let the Jews go. Pharaoh summons Moses and pleads with him to ask God to remove the plague. As soon as the locusts are removed, Pharaoh changes his mind and will not let the Jews go. This repeated act of ignoring God brought the 9th plague of darkness on Egypt. Darkness was felt over the entire land of Egypt, except for the land of Goshen, where the Jewish people lived. The plague of darkness from God showed his superiority over the Egyptian god of light. And Pharaoh, still ignoring God, led to the 10th and final plague, slaying of the firstborn. Pharaoh was not exempt from this final plague. Finally, he was humbled by God and he let the Jews go. This led me to question, why was Pharaoh so stubborn? Why didn't he listen to everyone who tried to warn him? Why did he see the signs given in? After all the warnings and plagues, why did he let his pride get in the way long enough to bring harm and death to his people and family? This story teaches the importance of being humble and really listening. I relate this story to parenting. When my boys were babies, a good friend once gave me a bit of dad parenting advice. Not so jokingly, he said, no matter what your kids ask, always say no. Can we go to Adventureland? No. Can I have ice cream? No. He said, all day long, my kids ask me for stuff. It's always better just to say no. I laugh at this story because I usually did buy them ice cream and take them to Adventureland. But I realized I could also be like Pharaoh at times. I had a plan for my kids. I would push them to follow it. I would stubbornly impose my will on them. When they would tell me they wanted to try some new activity or stop playing a sport, I could be guilty in not listening to them. They were telling me or showing me with their behavior they had a different plan. I would get frustrated that they were not trying hard enough, and would tell them to toughen up, stick it out. All the while, they were persistently telling me or showing me they had a different plan for themselves. As a parent, I need to truly listen to them and accept the decisions for their own lives. I can be stubborn, but parenting teenagers reminds me that sometimes we need to let our people go so they can thrive and grow and find their own way. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
What a wonderful night, and our next victim, our next reader is Isla Lansby. And we call Talmud, Chaya Bluma Bat Yaakov Minka, Livareth et HaTorah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Abraham ben Ma'at Shana Behivalet Lo Yitzhak beno Vataomer Sarah Techo Asa li Elohim kol hashomeya Yitzhak li Batomer mi Snilel le'Avraham Henika Banim Sarah Ki Yaladti Vein Lizkunas Vayigdal Hayelen Vayigamal Vayas Abraham Mishtet Gadol Beyom Higamel et Yitzchak. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natnota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Thanks for all laughing when we moved the step stool over, I'm pretty sure. I'm a very strong believer in listening and learning from others, said Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Today, I'm going to speak to you about Parsha Ha'azinu, which would have been my Parsha at my bat mitzvah. The poem is recited by Moses to the Israelites just as they are set to enter the promised land. It teaches us that listening, patience, respect are all necessary parts of who we are. Listen to those who came before you, respect what you have, and take responsibility for what you have done. Moses reminds us that we have been through so much together. We should not take this world for granted, and we should be grateful for what we have. It's about our past, our present, and what our future holds as a people. He calls upon everyone and everything to listen. Listen about how God helped our people, guided our people, led our people on their journey, and provided for our people, yet they have taken for granted all that God has provided. This is quite a powerful reading when I sat down to really think about it. Let's start with the word ha'azinu itself, which means to give ear or listen. The definition of listen is to give one's ear to sound. It requires focus and attention and is often a skill that most of us don't do very well. How often do we take a step back from our busy lives to just listen to the world around us? Who do you listen to? Your mom, your dad, your brother or sister, your teachers, your kids, or your coworkers? And how do you listen? Do you interrupt? Do you play on your phone? Do you watch TV? Do you make eye contact? The act of listening seems easy, but really listening, actively listening, it's not as easy. Properly listening to one another means being fully present in the moment and in the conversation. Whether you have a comment or not, we should be internalizing the conversation and the words that bring emotional value to it. We must learn to listen with our whole selves and not just our ears. Truly listening helps provide stronger, more meaningful relationships and a better understanding of others. It's no wonder that the central prayer in Judaism, the Shema, calls for us to listen. Listen, sons and daughters of Israel, to all of God's teachings. Listen to Moses' warnings of past wrongs so that we will not repeat mistakes of the past. Listen to our children's hopes and dreams so that we can help them build a better future. Listen with an open mind and an open heart. Listening affects our everyday lives. At home, listening to your kids or your spouse brings compassion and understanding of their feelings, needs, and wants. Allowing your kids to express themselves helps to resolve conflict and lead healthier, more fulfilling lives. Listening helps us avoid mistakes, helps us to make decisions, helps us to feel as though we are valued and that we matter. Even just writing this Devar Torah, I think of my life and my family. Just the other day at my twins' school, the nurse called to let me know of an incident on the bus. My first instinct was, my son hit my daughter. He is going to be in trouble. But then I said to myself, there are always two sides to a story. Turns out a mini family meeting in the kitchen shed much more light on the situation. Anna pulled the backpack of her brother, and while it was the wrong response, Aaron then punched her in the stomach. All over who got to sit where on the bus. Okay, so we aren't talking about the fight they had and how it was wrong what they did. It was the resolve that happened through listening. Dr. Emmanuel Nagwambi, a professor at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, states we all need to become better active listeners. In no way is this list finite, but here are a few things he says we can all do better. Respect who you are listening to. Expect to learn before you listen. Don't prejudge your source, which will inhibit your ability to listen. Block out all interferences, allowing you to focus better. Provide feedback to the individual whom you are speaking to. Process what has been said. And even when reading a text message, move your head and your lips, as this can enhance listening. Thank you all very much for listening. Rachel, Dave, Jan, and Natasha. 2 years ago, we started this journey, most of us knowing a letter here or there. We all thought Rabbi was kidding when she said we were going to read from the Torah with no vowels. Well, look at us now. We were in person, we went through a pandemic, we were on Zoom, and even had a postponement, but none of that could keep us from doing this today. I am beyond thankful for the new friends that I have gained throughout this process. Nailed it. Congratulations, guys. A very big thank you to my family here and on Zoom for all the support, to my husband for listening to me speak about this speech for weeks, and to my kids, especially Carly, who will be here next year, for helping me with my Hebrew. I'd like to wish my twins a very happy birthday. We have a lot to celebrate this weekend. To Cantor Appelbaum, thank you so much for all the help and support with my Torah blessing and my other blessings. The positive reinforcement and encouragement gave me that extra boost to stand up here today. And last but not least, Rabbi, thank you for getting me to this point. I knew I wanted to do this for me and show my kids that you can do anything you put your mind to, no matter how old you are. But your endless support over these last 2 years has been invaluable and got me where I am today. I'd like to leave you with this quote from author, businessman, and educator Stephen R. Covey. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. And I close with this: communication is one of life's important and elusive skills. Remember, it's not just writing or speaking. It is about also listening. Remember not just to hear the words, but actively listen with our whole body, our mind, and our spirit. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much.
And now it is my pleasure to call Rachel Turner. Do Ta'amol, Leia Bat Meir, Ve'etet Nachama, Levaret Et HaTorah, Levat. You liked it? Nope. You can't do anything. We don't want to miss a word. Don't poke her with the picking her nose. Ready? Baruch et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hayamim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vatera Sarah et Ben Hagar, Hamitzrit Asher Yalda LeAvraham Mitzahim. Vatomer LeAvraham Garesh Ha'ama Azot Ve'et Bena Ki Lo Yirash Ben Ha'ama Azot Beni Im Yitzhak Vayera Hadavar Me'od Be'enei Abraham Al Odot Beno Vayomer Elohim El Abraham Al Yirah Le'necha Al Hana'ar Va'al Amatecha Kol Asher Tomar Elecha Sarah Shema Bikolaki V'yitzak Yikareh Lecha Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokeinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Take this. No, not yet. Oh, not yet. Just your speech. Not yet. Nope.
All right, fine, hold on, she's got her own
No,
plan.
I need everybody. But not yet. Okay. So we're gonna cover the Torah for you.
Hi, everybody. Last but not least, my name is Rachel. I know the service was long, and thank you for being here to support us. And I promise if I take too long, Vincent's going to start playing his music like they do on the award ceremonies to kind of shut me down. Anyway, I heard about the B'nai Mitzvah class when my children entered Temple Beth Torah's Hebrew school. My initial interests lie in my ability to help my children when they had questions about Judaism, which I did not have the answers to, and to learn to read Hebrew. As a child, I did not have a bat mitzvah, nor did I attend Hebrew school. My Jewish upbringing was what I would call traditional, more in the sense that we repeated our family's traditions of celebrating all the high holidays with the same prayers, mostly the same food year after year. And I really had no idea what Judaism meant, and certainly not what it meant to me. A bat mitzvah is a rite of passage. It helps us start to discover our spirituality. As part of our B'nai Mitzvah class, we were asked to read the Parsha. My Parsha was Kitara. I had no idea what this was 18 months ago. We would have read this text when we were 13. Upon my first reading, I had no real connection with these writings. I reread the piece knowing that there was something I was meant to learn. And just that knowing was my drive to continue. On the surface, the text said to me that if you follow Jewish law and you obey the commandments, you will remain in God's good graces. However, if you transgress from Jewish law, do not follow the commandments, you will not remain in God's good graces. If I'm being honest, I'm not typically the best rules follower, and hence I knew this was not the lesson I was to learn. I began to think about my Judaism and how it related to my spirituality and my connectedness. I reread the text and it began to transform. The Kitavo now reads to me the following. If we acknowledge the universe and look to those many signs and miracles, we will be rewarded with a land flowing with milk and honey, a rich and fulfilling life. If we give, our giving will be returned. If we set forth love, kindness, and compassion, we will be set high above all, reaching peace and joy. But if we do not look for the signs, the miracles, if we take rather than give, If we wield an iron tool, are harsh, we will let loose calamity, panic, frustration in all enterprises undertaken, and shall soon be utterly wiped out until driven mad. If we isolate, allowing the mind, not the heart to lead, we will sink lower and lower. So it's through my new understanding and knowing that I continue looking, seeking, learning, and sharing. To bring this text full circle, one of these signs revealed themselves the day my mother passed away. To give you some background, my mother had a big presence and personality. She was not shy, nor did she lack in her opinions. She was very fond of the way she spelled her name. Apparently, it was spelled the French way, and her name is Adrienne, Adrienne. My brothers and I had just said our goodbyes. We left the hospital and were standing outside. Cars were passing by. A black Mercedes SUV drove past. Normally, I don't think we would have thought anything about the car except for the fact that the license plate read Adrienne, Adrienne, big and bold, just as she was. Though my mother's physical form was no longer, she has not left us, a clear sign we are all eternally connected. So I want to leave you with that tonight, but before I go, I'd like to take a moment to thank a few people. Rabbi Susie, thank you. You have amazing passion and dedication for your craft. You're very kind and patient through this whole process teaching adults. The Cantor for your brilliant musical talent and tolerance as I botched a lot of your melodies over and over again. My benevolence for comrades. It's been a lot of fun with you guys. We're through COVID and we're here today. Congratulations. And finally, to my family and my friends for their support, especially those who had to listen to me over the last few weeks reading and singing and walking around, including some neighbors and some pets. So I want to thank you all for being here. And finally, I want to thank Keaton. Thank you for sharing your Friday night service with us, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Yeah, we can start.
Okay.
But I would invite anyone under 13 who wants to come up and clean up this. Maybe give a hug along the way. We'll take one of anybody, really. Ray, come on up and help us. You guys come on up, and if you help clean up, you can eat. Pictures of how you want. Good job, and make sure everybody gets up. Share. Did everybody get? And there are not all not pieces. Obviously, that's an issue. Okay. And while we have our wonderful cleanup crew, and that was fabulous, we invite the congregation to rise as we return. That was meant to get the road behind. Please be seated. Actually, stay in the middle because the way the cameras are, only in the middle.
Okay, we wanted to thank Temple Beth Torah with a special needed gift. We heard that the temple's refrigerator is old and the freezer does not run at all. So the B'nai Mitzvah class of 2021, David, Isla, Natasha, Rachel, and I are giving a new refrigerator with a working freezer to the temple. It will be used for the school staff and especially as a mitzvah freezer for TLC, Tender Loving Care donations. We are very pleased that we could help. Two last gifts need to be given. We would be remiss if we left out two special people most important to our journey, studying Hebrew, Jewish customs, and Torah. We would like to present prayer shawls to Rabbi Susie and Cantor Sarene, inscribed in Hebrew as follows: Blessed is the one who grants us knowledge. Thank you for the knowledge from the B'nai Mitzvah class of 2021.
Thank you. So now it is my turn to share for just a few moments. Well, a rabbi's few moments. All of you who did such an amazing job tonight, I'm so thrilled and proud and excited, came to this class with a desire to learn and a love of Judaism. You certainly didn't come here, as we have heard, saying, oh my God, I can't wait to lead services in front of all these people and read Hebrew from the Torah without that. But here you are, and you did an amazing job. After 2 years, including an extension due to COVID, you have read Torah so beautifully, led us in prayer with kavanah and intention, and shared of yourselves with honesty and candor. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us, for reminding us that it is never too late to learn something new. And thank you for digging deep to see how the Torah is connected to you. Let's take a look at this week's Parsha for a moment, as it connects as well. Abraham models faith in the near sacrifice of Isaac. Abraham models courage to fight for what is right when he stands up at Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham models hospitality in the way he treats the strangers who appear at his tent. Each of you have wrestled with your faith and thought about things that we don't deal with every day, and really dug deep to see where your faith lay. You are all the kind of people who stand up to fight for what is right, to make this world a better place. I want to focus on the mitzvah of Hakmasat Orchim, the welcoming of guests. The Me'or Einayim, a Hasidic Rabbi, responds to a classic teaching about Vayera. The first verse in our Parsha teaches Adonai appeared to Abraham. In the second verse, it says that Abraham saw 3 men coming toward the tent, and he ran to greet them. Traditionally, this is interpreted that the mitzvah of greeting the guests is greater than the mitzvah of being in the divine presence, since Abe leaves God to go greet the guests. But the Meor Einayim, who believes that God is everywhere, explains that greeting the guests is part of welcoming the divine. That when we act with intention, we channel God's energy into everything that we do. And greeting guests with eye contact, with graciousness, and lots of food is actually bringing more divinity into the world. The strangers are called malachim, which can be translated to mean messengers or angels. They gave Abraham the opportunity to perform this mitzvah, haknasat orchim, and to bring more godliness into the world. Each of you are truly malachim, messengers of God and angels in your own way. And tonight, you have been those messengers and inspired us and brought more holiness into our lives. Rachel, you reminded us to look for signs and miracles. It takes a special person to open themselves up to see the wonders that are in the world around us. And you are that kind of person. You are always kind, you are always there for others, and quietly observing the world around you, and then speaking your piece. Thank you for opening our eyes to help us see the miracles in the world. Jan, you have an amazing, I'll try anything attitude, and so much zestful energy. In the middle of a pandemic, you were figuring out how to safely get to Massachusetts by car and by boat. Nothing could stop you. You never say no or I can't. You bring a smile and laughter and true joy to every experience. Thank you for role modeling this for all of us. Isla, you are a perfectionist and applied your dogged determination to this task of becoming a bat mitzvah. But you balanced your desire to be the best by being warm and inclusive and making life fun. And I really thought you might do a cartwheel after you finished your workshop, but we just got it nailed it. You afterwards, with the One, you can do one. You were always striving to be a better mom, wife, and friend, and to really listen. Ha'azinu, give ear. The Torah repeats this message over and over, and you pick up on that and you remind us how important it is to listen. Dave, you wrestle with when to say yes and when to say no, which is truly the best way to be a partner and a parent, to do that wrestling. I hope you'll always trust your instincts because they will steer you right. You, like Moses in your parsha, are very humble. We imagine Moses looking around and saying, "Who, me?" when God selects him. Humility often leads us to the right decisions. And you always lead with kindness and a very dry sense of humor. You can't go wrong. Natasha, since we first began this journey together, you have impressed me with your courage and strength. You are blessed to have a guardian angel in the form of your grandmother who sent you on this path, or at least inspired you to listen to the call of your soul. You have embraced Judaism through your practice and are regular on Friday nights. But even more, you have brought your deep faith to this journey, and it serves as a constant inspiration. I ask the 5 of you to rise as I share this blessing adopted from the Talmud to you. May your hearts be filled with intuition and your words with insight. May songs of praise ever be on your tongue and your vision be on a straight path before you. May your eyes shine with the light of holy words and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips speak wisdom and your fulfillment be in righteousness, even as you ever yearn to hear the words of the holy ancient one of old. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you safe always. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God's beautiful light shine more brightly because of the beautiful lights that emanate from you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may God grant you peace in a world made more peaceful because you are in it. And let us all say,
Amen.
we invite everyone to rise as we turn to page 586 for the Aleinu at the bottom of the page.
Aleinu l'shabeach Adon ha'kol, l'teit b'nei Sarene, Yado asar k'goyei ha'razon, v'lo samanu k'mishpachat ha'adama, shelo samchem kahem, Nigor aleinu k'kol ha'amonam, Anav nirkorim, Ubishamarim umorim, Li'telech ma'vi ha'ma'vim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emor, ve'aya Adonai, L'melech ha'kol ha'aretz, V'yom ha'u, yeh Adonai echad.
We turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. And on this Shabbat, we particularly remember Velma Vega, friend of family of Jan Feynman, and those for whom we are in the period of Shloshim, Jill Needleman, friend of Robin Isaacs, Edward Slater, brother of Linda Arnberg, Daniel Pills, father of Jennifer Birnbaum, and Judith Stein, aunt of Leslie Brand. And those whose yard sites fall at this season: Richard Alexander, Seymour Alexander, Florence Bernstein, Elliot Blaine, Shari Ann Blaine, Lewis Clark, Carol Flatow, Carl Getzel, Jean Ilowitz, Brandon Noah Ingber, Miriam Kane, Igor Kleiner, Ella Levine, Sheldon Manis, Edmund Mayer, Hilda Nauman, Morton Rader, Shirley Rosen, Rita Rosenberg, Eileen Sachs, Lumi Schreiber, Evelyn Schulbach, Fran Wasserspring, Milton Weinstein, and Julia Weisberger. Is there anyone else you're saying Kaddish for today? If you want to put a name in the chat or if you just want to share. So we join together in love and memory. Page 590. Yitzgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Yama dibra pirtei yamlich malchutei, v'chayei kol v'yomechol, v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam v'mei umaya. Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yiparar v'yitromam v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shmei kedusha v'yirvu. Leila inikol ha'ar. Hata v'nechemata damiran v'yamal amen. Yehei shlomo Rabba min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yiru amen. Oseh shalom v'romav. Uyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yiru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, amen. Please remain standing as we turn to page 122 and 123 for the Kiddush, and we're going to invite Kaden back with his dad Felix to lead us in the Kiddush. So you grab this one. It's the one without the cup. I know. Yeah. That's all set. You guys can come up here, let's go.
So we're gonna be like that.
Amy, over here, sweetheart.
The heaven and the earth were finished and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho ve'ahava u'ratzon chimchilanu zikaron l'ma'aseh Bereshit Kehu Yom Tefillah L'Mikra'ei Kodesh Zecher L'Tiyat Mitzrayim Kivanu B'Charta Ve'otanu Kidashta Mikol Ha'amim V'Shabbat Koshecha Ve'ahava u'ratzon nimchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mechadesh Hashem.
This week we have sparkling grape juice. World. So you can be seated, and we're going to return the cups over here. And it is my pleasure to invite Tony Kane to join us on the Bima. To present some certificates, and if my adult name so people can kind of stand behind as well. So there.
Okay. Mike up.
Start with Keith.
Start with Keith.
You can stand.
Kill it tomorrow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Family, wishing you all the best. And as for the board of trustees, we'd like to present for us respondents for certificate. No, the rest of the gifts might have to be Amazon Prime delivered tomorrow. There is the Kiddush Cup. It's a gift from Motherhood and Sisterhood. It's also from Nifty, a $250 gift certificate to a future trip to Israel, which I hope you participate in, as well as a one-year membership at the Suffolk JCC, offering special programs I'm sure you'll enjoy. And again, wish you all a hearty mazel tov. Enjoy it tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Tasha. Mazel tov. As an alumni, as a husband of an alumni of the Neighborhoods program, I know how hard people work and what it took to get you on. Cantor, Rabbi, I know how hard they taught you and what they had to do to get you to this point today. Anyway, mazel tov.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And the Kiddush cups and the prayer books were gifts from the temple as well. We'll call you back up.
I'll be back.
In a second. Thank you. And Kaden, we will see you bright and early tomorrow.
Yes.
It's just beginning for you. These people are all having a sigh of relief. And you'll get through another one. let us turn to page 371 as we pray for prayers of healing. We have so many people on our Mishaberak list, Amy Swirsky, Johnny Caliero, so many names on our list here. Lenny Bernstein, Nikki Platts, Jack Legros, Phyllis Belford, and many more. And is there anyone else you're praying for healing for tonight? You want to say out loud?
Yeah, been specific.
Thank you.
Joni Spielberg and Bill Ebert.
Thank you. Thank you, Miriam.
Ray Allison, Betty Catania, Margot Nelson.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Lisa Fishman.
Thank you. Natasha. So we pray for healing.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to be our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Before our hearts, let's go to the healing with the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Amen v'amen, refuah shlema, complete and speedy healing. We take a moment of celebration for our October celebrations. And your birthday's not in October, right? Yeah. But so we just wish you a mazel tov for your bar mitzvah. I know, you're on the list. Aaron and Anna, please stand up. They will be turning 8 years old on Sunday, right? Saturday, tomorrow. Very, very cool. And I don't know if Elise Freiberger's here, but happy birthday, and Janina. And sometimes watching Don Kick and Sandy Cohen. I know you're often with us. Happy birthday to you. I think Marnie Gershwitz is out celebrating. Who else has to it? Michelle and Scott Chachinsky anniversary coming up this weekend or Monday. Happy anniversary. Tony and Stephanie Kane, they'll have to come back with your other half, but everybody should stand. Okay, so both of you can stand up from afar. The kiss at the end part's gonna be a little challenging. Any other birthdays, anniversaries? You can, Susan.
This is my oldest friend Lisa, and it's her birthday this week.
Happy birthday, Lisa. She looks very young. She's a very friend. You have to stay standing up, stay standing up. Happy birthday, how did we miss that? Is it in October?
Yes.
Okay, stand up. And am I missing any other exciting, was it your dad's birthday too? No. Well, you have to come back to Shoreland. I think the Sporns might be watching. Allison and Joel, happy anniversary. I don't know if anybody else is out there. So we're going to sing a wonderful Shehechianu to celebrate these life cycle events and our wonderful, all 6 of our B'nai Mitzvah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu, v'hiyamanu, v'hiyamanu,
Mazel tov, many Adnei Esrim, and many, many more. It is my pleasure to invite Tony back up to share with us some events that are happening at Temple Beth Torah. and not on his sheet is the fact that there is an Oneg Shabbat in the multimedia room immediately following services. Just stay on this level and go all the way down the hall. And we are looking forward to meeting each other and to greeting all of you there.
First, might as well welcome to everybody. That's for class. Amazing job and inspiring stories. Thank you, Katie, for sharing this with them tonight. Tomorrow we will do. And again, mazel tov for the family. Wow, that's nice. Last time I was just talking to an iPhone machine. Anyhow, the announcements, everyone's favorite part of the service. Saturday, October 23rd, 9 a.m. We have Shabbat Torah. Sunday, October 24th at 12 p.m. confirmation class, and at 2 p.m. budding friendships. Monday, October 25th is ELC bingo at 7 o'clock. Is the Board of Trustees meeting. So definitely will be present and accounted for. 7:30, we have high adult education. Sign up for courses. Rabbi Moskowitz starts next Monday on Positive Judaism, and then join the guest speaker at 8:15. Tuesday, October 26th is Jewish Conscience at 10 a.m. 4:30 p.m. Third grade baby naming pact. Wednesday, October 27th, third grade baby naming pact again. 7 p.m. membership meeting. Again, I will be there. Friday, October 29th, we have 10:15. We have Torah yoga, and it's 6:30 p.m. Shabbat services. Notice the time change. We now have 6:30 instead of 7. Sunday, October 31st, the HJC Social Action Zoom presentation of Judaism, food, climate, and use Zoom information for the calendar. Monday, November the 8th at 10 a.m. Rabbi Moskowitz is interviewing Dara Horn about her new book, People Love Dead Jews. Thursday, November 11th, is shopping day at Saks. Ask Florida for more information. Friday, November 12th, Shabbat Dinner, save the date. In person, and TBT COVID protocols will be in place. Sign up now, available. Thursday, November 18th, from 7 to 10 is Shop and Smooth. And of course, it is coming. TBT presents Beauty and the Beast. The long and patient waiting is happening on February 11th and February 12th. Tickets are now on sale at the website. HIGH is an adult education institute sponsored by 10 Reformed conservative congregations in Suffolk County. It runs for 6 consecutive weeks, each falling following the high holidays, and offers local clergy-led courses and leading guest scholars each session. Our Rabbi Susie Moskowitz will be teaching. The Village, Temple Beth Torah and Dix Hills Jewish Center, selected by UJA, Federation of New York, to develop a unique community for our active over 60 congregants. This community is called TBT HJC Village. Find out more on our website. And finally, the TBT sharing table needs your donations and time. We need donations of breakfast cereal, white rice, cleaning supplies, toilet paper, diapers, toiletries, deodorant, feminine hygiene products, and please leave all donations in the TBT basket. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Take that back.
No.
All right, we're going to close with a quick song. It would not be a TBT, the name is for service, if I didn't close with a name, Elohim. 626.
us in bringing us together for this special Shabbat. Please continue to shower us with your blessings and your love as we endeavor to do your will. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And we'll see you at the One. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Mazel tov. I'm gonna change cameras, so if you want to stay on and say hello, you can, but hang on.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom and mazel tov to everyone.
And mazel tov.
Shabbat shalom.
Wonderful.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. There we go. Shabbat shalom. We could make people come over and say hello, but I'll let them know you were here. Shabbat shalom. I think they're busy getting hugs.
Hey guys.
Hi, Cantor.
I don't want to get yelled at by my mom for not saying good night and Shabbat shalom.
It's always my fault if she doesn't. I hang up the.
Good night, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Elaine.
Shabbat shalom, Wendy and Jeff.
Shabbat shalom. Well, that's you. I know I heard your voice. All right, I'm gonna hang up on all of you. Have a lovely evening and thank you so much for being here.
Our pleasure. Thank
You
you.
do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we have lovely.
Thank
Mazel
you.
tov.
Beautiful.
Okay.